Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. I am in Dharamshala, India, which is, of course, where the Dalai Lama lives. He just lives up the road from where I'm staying now. And today I have my guest again. Her name is Au-diya. So, Au-diya, just please again introduce yourself and just tell everybody what you do.
Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Au-diya. I'm from Klang. This afternoon, I'm from Klang in Malaysia, and I am a gardener and cook by profession. And thank you again, Celeste, for having me. Excited to be here this afternoon.
Okay, so I invited Au-diya again today because I made a video a few years back, I don't know, 3, 4, I don't know how many years, 5, 6 years ago, about there was a situation in Malaysia where two lesbians were caught frolicking in a car in a public space. And it caused such a big stir all over the world because then it became a alphabet community issue. Alphabet community meaning the LGBTQAI plus people. And I will link the video down below. So if anybody wants to watch the video, you can go and watch it. And I can hear Au-diya's little boy in the background there, but it's okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Au-diya, you watched the video, so I know there's a few things that
Yes.
you wanted to discuss. So can you please just talk about some of the things?
Yes, well, it was so interesting. I think it came out in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, the case. So it was very big here in Malaysia. It was like suddenly everyone was talking about it. More than the elections, more than whatever was happening that year. But it was so big because it was so surprising. Well, actually, it's not surprising, but it's so sensational at the same time because what happened was the two ladies were caught like as you said frolicking and among all places in Terengganu. So Terengganu is actually close to my heart because I grew up studying there. I had my diploma there. So it was in the same city, in fact, that particular city that they were caught in. So and they were young ladies. I think they were about 20 and 30 plus years old, and they were caught in a car in broad daylight. So what happened was they got sentenced to 6 lashes, and I believe like a fine of 3,000 ringgit or something. So it was very surprising, not only because they were lesbians, but also because they were thinking whether to put it out for public display. Because as you know, and as you've covered in your video, the lashings and the sentencing is not really to punish or to hurt. You know, it's more like a whip to, well, they say not to shame, but to sort of I believe the word they used was to set an example for the rest of the Muslim community over there. So it was sensational actually because it was public, and the sentencing itself was not public, but they were thinking of doing it, and there was something like 100 people during the sentencing and the lashing. um, for me, there's a lot. This is a lot of ground to cover. I don't think we can do it in 40 minutes. But first, it was the lesbian issue, and then it was the public, playing around issue. You know, obviously messing around in the car in broad daylight. So it was very interesting to see how it developed and how it has changed in the years, if anything.
Okay, so just to give some context, but again, people, you have to go and watch the video. Because
Yeah.
Malaysia, Malay people, the Malay race in Malaysia, they are usually Muslims. And so they are governed under sharia law. So the reason these ladies were arrested was, first of all, they were frolicking. I say frolicking because, you know, it's that S word, which I don't want to use on YouTube. They were doing that thing in the car, which is
Yeah.
public indecency. Now, public indecency is not
Correct.
only a sharia law offense, but it's also just a federal offense. And in any country, you're not allowed to frolic in public.
Correct.
So, second thing is, but people made it more about the fact that they were lesbians. Because, Au-diya, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it also against Sharia law for even a man and a woman to be in close proximity in public if they're not married?
Correct. Yes,
Right.
that is true. And if I'm not wrong, the punishment that comes with it is the same. So I
Same,
just think
yes.
it's something like, yeah, 3,000 ringgit or a few years in jail or both. So it's the same
Yeah,
punishment for that.
right. But interestingly enough, people never, when couples like a boy and a girl or a man and a woman are caught,
Yeah.
even just holding hands and they get arrested, nobody says anything. The minute
Yes,
it
exactly.
is lesbians, the alphabet community, it suddenly became a world matter. So I don't know, I just feel that this is very biased.
Well, it is. I feel that because we all know those things happen. We all know well, we all know there's the alphabet community, as you say, the LGBTQIA plus community, and it exists anywhere in the city, in urban, in the villages. It's there everywhere. But to we still don't parade it. They still have to live in some places, under the covers and in the closet and whatnot. But going back to what you asked, I feel that it was biased because we do get instances where spouses cheat on each other, and there has been the Jais, the Islamic religious authority, and also the cops, doing busting people in hotels and whatnot. And these things happen every celebration. They're busting before Ramadan, they're busting during Merdeka and Christmas. Valentine's Day is a popular, you will see the headlines all over tomorrow. But you don't see a public spectacle, especially of lashing. So yes, I agree that it is biased, was biased, and I think that was a shock to us all, gay or not. It was we didn't really know how to feel about it, I guess.
Right, yeah. But okay, so just also, but it is a fact that in Islam, because you are Muslim, right?
Yes.
It is a fact in Islam that if you are not married, you cannot be in close proximity, which means like no holding of hands,
Correct.
hugging, being alone together in a room. And this is irrespective of whether you two males, two females, if you cannot or have a sexual relationship if you are not married.
Correct.
This is
By the Muslim laws, you cannot have any relationship actually before marriage. But being modern Malaysia, we are sort of modern. You can for me myself, we could still go out on dates and whatnot, but it has always have to be safe in a public space. And if we went to this to watch a movie or something, we would bring our other friends along, or our siblings or best friends, kind of thing. But we don't, I mean, it's not really we cannot kiss and things like that, especially
in
in public
public,
and
especially. Yes,
what
yes. I mean,
more
because people do,
privately.
yeah, because people do
Yeah.
these things, but I mean, you would do it very privately because anyway, at the end of the day, things like
Correct.
that kind of display of affection has to be private,
Yes.
isn't it? I mean, why are
Yes,
you
yes, that I agree.
making out in public?
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
especially
no fun
making out
making out in
like
public anyway because it's limited. What you can do is so limited because people can see what
yeah,
you are doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine so. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, because when that case came out, I was still in my early 30s and wasn't married and all that. Still, there was if you weren't married, then if you were just hanging out kind of thing, you would still always be cautious to what you can do, and making out in a car in broad daylight in Terengganu is definitely, unheard of, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you personally feel, and also like if I talk about your friends, your peers at that time, were
Yeah.
did your peers understand that this was just wrong and it had nothing to do with whether they alphabet or not? Or were you guys also from the camp like, this is wrong, this shouldn't happen, they should be allowed to do as they please, blah blah blah? So just elaborate on that.
Yeah, it was interesting because, as I said, we were approaching our 30s, so we were a bit, going into the adult side of life. Some of us really felt that uh, it was wrong, just public indecency, even between a man and a woman, even between a married man and a woman, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was our initial reaction. But upon reading it, the media, I think, push the lesbian agenda so much that that was the headline more than
Right,
the act of indecency.
right.
So yes, personally, I did feel that it was, I don't know, because I don't remember what happened that year. Maybe it was like a political agenda, or a media agenda, to sensationalize. But yes, I did feel that it was pushed, far too much, and that always divides us as a nation. Even now in 2023, the LGBTQIA plus community is making headlines, a lot of times, portrayed in a very negative and very bullied way, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I see, because I remember that time also it was more, not even so much Malaysia, but it was the Western media that was like trying
Yes.
to jump on the bandwagon and making it like make Malaysia out to be this kind of a bad, backward country. So again, they were not looking at the public indecency aspect of the case, and then they were also not looking at how this is not even an alphabet thing, because it also applies to heterosexual couples. This is just a sharia
Right.
law thing. And that Malaysians,
Yeah.
if they are Malay and Muslim, they actually understand this law, right? It's not like
Yes.
they sprung it up on you yesterday and said, okay, you're not allowed to frolic in public. It's something
Yeah.
that Malaysians have always known,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think we all knew that, even if you were Malay or not, even if you were Muslim or not, like you touch
Or
in
like
your
me, like
video,
I'm not
it's a,
even, yeah,
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 not even Malaysian Muslim kind of thing,
yeah.
So it's our law. The Malay Muslims in Malaysia is governed by Sharia law. There's nothing you can do about it. Just like you said, but we're also a bit divided on that, in terms of, well, first off, yes, the Western media was having a frenzy, spinning it around, um, to fit whatever agenda it was fitting at that time, and that is very sad to see, because you can see the articles up until today, and the way it was reported is very diminishing towards what really happened, and it was to the point of, the lashings were cruel and hurtful, when it wasn't, that
Yeah.
wasn't even what happened, but yeah, talking about the Sharia law and all that, uh you mentioned that your friend thought that it was backwards and whatnot. The Sharia law is actually, it's supposed to govern the Malay Malay born Muslims. Uh, but also there are a few things that, I think, I personally, in my opinion, I don't agree with. Um, I do not see that it's backwards. I feel that it is, not worked on enough. in 2023. I feel that Malaysia has a lot of steps to follow through in terms of gender equality, for example, in terms of child marriage, in terms of things like this. That being said, if you ask me whether the sentence carried back in 2019 was fair, I would say yes. It was a fair sentence. But if you ask me, was it justice? Then I would say no. I don't think that it was justice, and I still don't think it is until now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me, why is it not just? Why do you feel it was not justice or not justified? What do you think should have happened to them?
I think it wasn't justified. The when in the sentencing room, when they carried out the punishment, I think there was like 100 people or something that was there, including their family members, media, their lawmaking team and whatnot, and their lawyers and whatnot. So in retrospect, even if the sentencing was carried out following Sharia law, which is very, very specific laws in terms of caning, you have to be dressed in a specific way, and the cane has to be in a specific size, and the caning itself, there's a lot of procedures to that. But the issue of making it such
a spectacle,
sensationalizing it.
Yeah, they made it a spectacle. Yes, that is where it's wrong. That's where it's un-Islamic. Because it's not supposed to be spectacle. It's supposed to be like a lesson, and a lesson doesn't have to be made into like a sensationalized event. I get your point. I see.
And and that is what the Islamic agency came out with. They said, this is our justification for carrying out this caning, because it will serve as a token to others, as a lesson to society, kind of thing. So I believe that you can still achieve that lesson to society in terms of reporting, and in terms of how you are handling it. But to make it a spectacle is just shameful, and it's not justice, I think, for the ladies involved and the families involved.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to push back, because otherwise it's just us agreeing. So okay, so but I'm thinking in this way, maybe in their defense, maybe they wanted to make it public so that people can actually see what the lashings look like. Because, there's some people that think the lashings is this cruel, hitting, they leave mask, whereas we know it's just it's symbolic. It's more of like so, but I mean, it's not saying that I agree with that. I'm just saying that in their defense, just to be the devil's advocate, maybe that's what they were thinking.
Yes, that could have happened. And see, that's the problem with everything. Everyone has his agenda here and there, and who are we to know? We can only decide based on our experiences as readers of the media. That's all. We don't know what Berita Harian or Harian Metro is reporting something, but Free Malaysia Today is reporting something else. So in another tone of language and reporting. So you won't really know. It could be, but if it is, it's just sad. I feel that they would have done better if they came up with the infographic of the lashing itself, which if you Google caning in Malaysia or whatnot, you can just find it. It will be there, the infographic on the procedures of the lashing ceremony. So they could have done better with that, I think.
So like going back to like when I was trying to make a case for them in defense, I think also if they really wanted also to people not have the misconception of what the lashings look like, they could have done it so privately, but then invited maybe 3 newspapers to witness it, so that when they write, they can say. When they lash, no, they don't break the skin. You know what I mean? Just so that
Yeah.
instead of making this big spectacle, it could have been
Yeah.
something, because it's such a private matter.
Yeah.
And
100 is a big number.
Yeah.
100 is not private. So
Yeah.
that's just crazy. Yeah. But lessons are learned even when we see, we used to see like, oh, Valentine's Day, the Jabatan Islam is going to make a bust at hotels. Everyone knows that. So everyone doesn't go to hotels on Valentine's Day anymore, or they
Or you
just
go in
don't
a
do it
group.
anymore, which is
or you go in a group.
or you go in a group, or you go out, to a restaurant or somewhere public and stuff like that. So that is also lesson learned. And for example, if you're being criminalized or trial for other crimes like zina, for example, between a man and a woman, or
Zina and
for
kalwat.
drugs, or zina and kalwat. Even rape is not sensationalized,
Yes.
or things like that. Heavier things. I feel that this case was, not to say petty, but I think it was instigated as well by the wrong people, even if they had the right intentions.
Yeah. Okay, this was interesting, short and sweet.
Yeah.
So just any last maybe thing you want to just maybe put out there to the viewers, because a lot of my viewers are not Malaysian, so they don't really understand Malaysia. So if you just want to say something about.
Sure. Well, again, Malaysia is a beautiful country with beautiful people. We are a developing country, so I guess we are developing in our laws, in terms of our societal laws. We are still governed by the dual track justice system, the Sharia law and the federal law. So there's nothing we can do about it. But I feel that we are trying our best, even if we're pro-government or pro-Islam or pro-whatever pro you are. We are still trying to find ways for us to work with each other in respect, and it's sometimes 1 foot forward, 3 steps back, but we are trying. So hopefully we will see a better Malaysia in terms of discrimination and societal equality, I hope.
Okay, so on that note, thanks so much, Au-diya, for again sitting down with me and having this discussion. And
absolutely,
we'll see you again in a month's time in the next discussion. Okay, so thank you and cheers.